third grade. We're going to start our new project. Well, it's actually, we're going to continue our old project. I have a special guest with us today. It's Maddie, my son. So we're going to find these cardboard texture plates. Do you remember what texture means?
It means fuzzy, like soft and cold.
So the way that something feels. It can be fuzzy, soft, hard, rough, right? Bumpy. But does this have a texture? What kind of texture does this have?
It has bumpy.
Bumpy. So what we did last month was we made these plates. Make sure that your plate is really glued down well and dry. And if you notice, Matt, we put something in the center and then we made what's called radial balance around the outside. So we put something in the center, and tell me, we repeated stuff where?
On the sides and down and up.
Top and bottom and on the sides. Also, we repeated things in all
the corners.
All the corners. Can you sit up, bud, so everybody can see, or all the way around the center? So we are going to do two things, one of two things. You have two choices, right? Yeah. One is a texture rubbing. What do we need in order to do this, bud? Can you tell the kids? Can you show them?
We need this.
What is it?
Naked crayon.
Naked crayon. So start peeling or look in the bottom of your crayon boxes, right? So some naked crayons and either one big piece of paper or 4 little pieces of paper, right? Okay. Or if we can make a texture rubbing, or we can print our textures. How did we make this one, bud?
You put paint?
Yeah.
On this.
And where do we print it? It's wet, so don't touch it, okay? We printed it 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So all we did was get some paints. You can use 1 color, 2 colors, 3 colors, some brushes, and we printed 1, 2, 3, 4. If you don't have a big paper, what could you print it on?
Yellow.
What could you print it on if you don't have a big paper? You can print it on 4 smaller papers, right? So 1 for each corner. So you have a choice, a texture rubbing or a texture print, and you have a choice between small paper and large paper, right? If you don't have paint, you're probably gonna have to do the rubbing, right? Okay, so let's get started, right? Yeah, let's get started. Okay, third grade. For this assignment, we're going to review the principle of radial balance, which is around the center, top, bottom, left, and right, or all 4 corners. And then we're going to talk about texture, the element of texture, but we're going to talk about implied texture, not actual texture. So, as a review, radial balance is when things are repeated around the center, like a circle. You can do things that are the same on the top and the bottom, as well as the left and the right, and it could also be something that's repeated all around. Now, implied texture is something that looks like it might feel a certain way. It does not actually feel that way. So we can create implied texture by making a texture rubbing. We can make implied texture by printing, which is something that we've done in 1st and 2nd grade. And you can also make an implied texture by stamping. Now, texture rubbing, we know, is when you create these amazing designs by putting something that has texture underneath your paper and rubbing the side of a peeled or naked crayon on top of it. You can overlap textures and overlap colors. You can use only one texture and one color, or mix it up to make it more interesting. Now, printed texture is when you create a plate and you paint it with a roller, which is called a brayer, and print it on a piece of paper. We did not carve into our plates, but we built our plates with pieces of cardboard. So here we see 3 really interesting printed textures. And a stamped texture, which we know from growing up, is when you take a stamp, put it in an ink pad, and you can press it to make an interesting design or picture. And these are 3 amazing stamped textures. So for this project, we're going to choose between a texture rubbing and a print to use our cardboard textured plates from last month to make a radial design that's really impressive. Let's get started. So I'm going to show you 2 different ways to complete this project.
What do we need for this assignment?
What do we need for this assignment? Well, you can either use one big piece of paper, or you can use 4 little pieces of paper. So, and they don't have to be this small. They can be any size that you have. And you need to have your texture plate from last time, because what we're going to do is we're going to put texture. We're going to use this to make texture on our plate. And there are 2 ways that we can do that. Are you ready? Okay, so one way we can do that is by using
naked crayons.
And we can do a rubbing. Or we can use what? Paints. And we can do a print. And we also have some brushes, but you can use regular brushes if you don't have foam brushes. Okay, are we ready to get started?
Yes.
Okay, so
we're going to use paint.
What we're going to do is we're going to take our plates. Can I have one of the brushes, please? Okay. And I'm going to do the blue. You can do the yellow. And you can use any colors that you want. And you can even do one color. But you're going to carefully paint some color. Paint in the center, okay? Onto your texture plate. And make sure the whole thing's covered with some smooth color. Keep going.
Can I do the blue now?
Sure. Here, trade here. Okay, I'll do the yellow. Yep. And you're just gonna paint right on the plate. Go ahead, bud. Yep. I'm gonna hold it though. Okay, so now we have it covered in our paint. Here, bud. We're gonna flip it over. And we're going to put it in the top left corner or right corner. Is this on the left or the right, bud?
Right. And we're going to push it down.
And we're going to push it down. Would you like to push it down carefully? Push it.
And then we're going to whip.
Nope, that's not pushing. Okay.
And we're going to lift?
And then we're going to lift it. Ready?
Yeah.
Cool. Now we get to paint it all over again. Okay, after you get paint on it again, you press it in the next corner. And you'll know you're all finished when you have one printed in all 4 corners. Now, Matt, if everybody does not have a big paper like I do, what was the other choice that we had? Don't show them, just tell them, okay? Because you have paint on your hands.
Little paper.
How many little papers? Do you remember?
A plate.
4 little papers. I think there's one right underneath that. So I'm painting this up the last time. And if you don't have one big paper, or if your project is too big for one big paper, then you can do 4 little papers. But if you do have one big paper or a small project like I do, you can do all 4 corners. And look at that. It's a radial design, which means it's repeated all the way around. How cool is that? Do you like it?
Mommy, can we do it here and there?
What we're going to do is we're going to show them how to do the texture rubbing next. So this is how we print with our paint, but let's show the kids how we can do a texture rubbing. So like I said before, Matt, you could do the prints on 4 small papers, or You could do the prints on one big paper, and you can do the texture rubbing on 4 small papers, or you can do it on a big paper.
And for this, you need naked crayons.
We need naked crayons, our texture plate, and we're gonna put our paper on top. Now, do you remember how to use a naked crayon?
No.
Let me show you. You don't want to use the point of the naked crayon. You want to lay it on its side. All right, ready? Watch. If I lay it on its side, what do you notice?
I don't know.
What's happening?
It's texture.
It's texture. What I like, Maddie, when we do a texture rubbing, is we can do lots of different colors.
Yeah,
But
guys.
hold on.
I'm just gonna do it.
Hold on.
This.
All right, so can you do on top of Mommy's? See what happens. Gotta press hard. And sometimes it helps if you have another person holding it for you, right? Nope. We want to use the side of it, not the top, okay? Ooh, what color do you think that one is? Oh, more purple. Let's get another color. Let's see another color. Ooh, my favorite.
What?
So if you're going to do a texture rubbing, you're going to do it 4 times. So you can do it 1 in each corner or 1 on 4 pieces of paper. So what part of the crayon do we want to use? The side of it. Good job. And you want to rub. And like I said before, you didn't say excuse me, right? Let's use a new color. Can I do green?
To do green.
Okay, you can too. And if you press hard, look at how that texture is coming out. Check it out, right?
Guys, and if you guys like our video, hit like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Alright, so we're going to do this 2 more times. Okay, and when you're done, you won't need this anymore. And you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 texture rubbings, or 4 prints, not both. Unless you want to do both. Which one do you think you should do first? If you were going to do them both, which would you do first? The paint or the crayon?
I think if you want to be downstairs or upstairs, you would have to do this one first.
Okay. But then how would you do the rubbing on a wet painted plate? Would you be able to do the rubbing next? Or would it make more sense to do this with the dry crayon and then get it all painty and do this?
Maybe you guys could use a sink to wash
The plate?
the plate.
Oh. Well, if it was my project, I would do the crayon first and then the paint, or pick one or the other. I can't wait to see these cool texture projects. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, and
Don't forget to send them to us.
and hit subscribe.
So hit subscribe. Not required.